And we are live. What's up, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of New Comic Book Day Previews. This is the discussion where we talk about all the upcoming books. And everybody, welcome that's in the house right now. My co host guest from Dynamite Dynamic Forces. So, everyone, right now, please welcome them.
What's going on, Alec?
Yo, what's going on, Rex?
Oh gosh, I hate January, dude.
Why?
It's one perpetual Monday of the year. Every day in January is like a Monday.
I'm going to be honest, it's been going pretty fast for me. It's been very busy
Really?
on
Well,
my end.
you had a big well, yeah. Well, you had a big move, and then having to adjust to a new location. You brought your girlfriend with you, so you probably had a whirlwind kind of January. When did you move again? It was right before Christmas.
Yeah, we moved back on the
Yeah, that's right.
17th.
Yeah, right before Christmas. I remember.
But I mean, for me on my end, it's been more of just getting the house finalized. We're still dealing with that crap. Doing 40 hours a week at the comic shop, and then this on top of it. Yeah, it's been hectic. What's up, JD Barry? Hope you're doing well today.
JD, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, buddy?
So, but yeah. So it's not too surprised for me. It's just I hate January. I don't know. It's just you get the whole hoopla from the holidays, and then you go into January, and just the whole month just feels like a perpetual Monday. Every day's a Monday.
January usually takes a long time. It feels like it takes a long time.
Yeah, and then luckily February is a short month, right? So you get through February, and then next thing you know, you're in March.
Yeah.
So that's when I feel like the year really starts, man.
It goes by pretty quick then. But before we get into the new comic book day stuff, I gotta say, did you watch the Chiefs Bills?
Oh my God, yes, of course.
That was hands down one of the best football games I think I've actually ever watched.
It goes to show you that the Super Wild Card, when they added the playoff teams and they took away, home field advantage for everybody except the number one seed. I think that first week you kind of saw. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You saw teams that shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Now, hey, listen, I'm a huge Birds fan. You know that. I know you are too. But look, we really did deserve to be in the playoffs, and it showed.
All those teams, honestly. Every team that showed that they shouldn't have been there, literally the whole weekend was a blowout, every game.
Yeah, and then you look at the teams that are supposed to be there, and every single game it seems like has come down to a field goal.
Yeah, this last weekend was.
Yeah, well, I think the weekend before too. And our buddy John, thanks for joining us, man. All four games this weekend were. Yeah, it was crazy. So I think it says something. I get why they expanded it, and the viewership was fantastic from what I read. So it's not going anywhere. But
no.
I think one thing that has to be considered in the offseason is what are they going to do about that overtime rule? Because the overtime rule sucks.
I've always hated that overtime
right now.
It's always been stupid.
Well, before it was worse because before you could just march down, kick a field goal, and the game's over. So this is better.
Yeah.
Right. This is at least better. But then, unlike baseball, you got a problem. You can't, and you've seen it happen in baseball. I think I saw it happen in an all-star game years and years ago. It was in Milwaukee, and I was actually there. Who was it? I want to say it was Bud Selig, but maybe it wasn't. But and they ran out. Both sides ran out of pitchers, and they had position players come out there and play, and start to pitch. The problem with football is you can't just have that kind of baseball concept where the game never ends until somebody wins. Okay, I mean you have to, but you sort of can't let the game just keep going on and on and on because football's a different sport. You risk injury to your quarterback. Yeah. All those things play a role. So, my point is this. Okay, if it's going to come down to a flip. I think what they should do is you play, there has to be a definitive winner. Okay. You basically, allow it to go on until time expires and the score is still tied after that overtime time has expired. I don't know how many overtimes you would go to. They just flip the damn coin, right? Yeah. At that point, whoever heads or tails, whoever calls it wins, because that's essentially what you're doing now anyway.
For the most part, it is.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, they again, the change did add something, but I think, essentially you're looking at the same scenario. So why not, it comes down to a coin flip, then let's make it come down to a coin flip straight up.
I feel like it's
center of the field captains.
I feel like it's kind of obvious. I mean, if you kick a field goal, if you're the first one to have the ball, then you have an opportunity to score on the other end. But if you score a touchdown right off the back, it's over. Why don't you just elaborate? And it's like, all right, well, the other team, you get an opportunity to score a touchdown. If you don't score it on your possession, then the game's over. But for it to just be a one and done off a touchdown, I think that's ridiculous.
I mean, we got Roland in the house. Hey, thanks for joining us, Roland. I know this is the new comic book day, and we're talking about overtime, but Roland has an opinion. You're supposed to play defense. Yes, I agree with that concept, but as was demonstrated by the Chiefs game, that was demonstrated when the Chiefs lost a couple years back. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not. It's not. Somewhere there has to be a tweak to make this a little bit fairer, in my opinion. You know what I mean? There's got to be something that can be done. I don't know what it is. I mean, I think that maybe just letting it play out for one final quarter, and at the end of the quarter, if the game's still tied, it does just boil down to a coin flip. It's who knows. Same with let me see. Roland says same with offense. What's to say that the team is going to score? See, what about the overtime games where they end up in a tie? Yeah, but you can't. I realize that. I mean, regular season, I don't know that you necessarily change it, but playoffs, I think you do, because in playoffs you can't end in a tie. Somebody's got to win.
So, yeah, I guess that's what I'm actually specifically talking about. I'm referring to just the
playoffs,
overtime.
Right? Yeah. I have no problem with it ending in a tie in a regular season game. I mean, that. I mean, you get enough injuries through the course of the season. COVID obviously has thrown a real wrench in the works. But what do you do about playoffs? Where everything's on the line, and it really does kind of feel like it boils down to a coin flip. And kickers have never been obviously more important on many levels. Not just your place kicker, but your punters as well. That's proven to be a very critical position as well. It's funny how these things work, but I think what we saw the teams that deserved to be in the playoffs, and that's why the games ended the way they did. Everything ended up very, very close, coming down to a field goal to determine it. And that's the way it was supposed to be. Eagles didn't belong there. Clearly, the Cowboys didn't belong there, but they would have gone anyway as the winners of the NFC least.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have to admit, though, I was surprised that both Brady and Rodgers ended up getting bounced. That was surprising. If I were a betting man, I would have lost both those games, because I absolutely would have picked Green Bay and I absolutely would have picked the Bucs. So I would have taken a bath. So Roland says Bills defense let their QB down. Yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, you can examine the games, backwards and forwards, but I don't think. Hey, JT, what's going on, buddy?
What's good, JT?
I even like the Dallas game, as much as we might like to make jokes, and we will through this entire offseason. Those of us that don't like the Cowboys, about Mahomes doing it in 13 seconds, what Dak couldn't do in 14. We're going to make jokes, but that's not why Dallas lost the game. Okay. I mean, Dallas lost the game because they were penalized 14 times, okay, for close to 100 yards. That was continuous through the game. I mean, they kept shooting themselves in the foot, and, that to me played a bigger role than obviously anything else. And it wasn't something that just happened during that playoff game. They were doing it all season. So, I think their record, I think the offense was blown a bit out of proportion. So they clearly didn't belong there either, and that was demonstrated. Everybody that belongs there, they were playing right up until the last few seconds. And the cream rises to the top. I mean, Mahomes was really impressive. I mean, that's just impressive. I mean, he literally just willed the team down the field. I mean, that was a very impressive drive, and that's kind of what you need. You got to be that dude. And maybe age and stuff is starting to catch up with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady's 44 years old. I mean, you don't even know what that means yet, Alec. 44 years old, man. The body starts to betray you. Injuries that you would recover in a couple, 2-3 days now take 2-3 weeks. So I give him all the credit in the world. Believe me, I am not a Tom Brady fan. I was in a group chat with a bunch of friends while the games were going on, and I'm like, look, I've never been a Brady fan. Hated him most of his career. Never liked New England. But now I kind of got to root for him because he's the old guy. I mean, that's a 44-year-old guy. He's closer in age to me than most of these guys on the field. So I got to root for the old guy. Yeah, he's. I don't know how many. I don't know if he's coming back, man. I don't know. That's you've broken every record, dude. You're the GOAT. We get it, But I think Father Time's starting to catch up with him.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But on that note, we got about 10 minutes down football talk, and last week we got a little off topic, but comic book wise, we got a pretty solid week coming up. So I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see if it actually works or not.
Ooh, look at you!
Awesome. Yeah. So we can go through the books a little bit easier and check out some cool covers. But I was gonna start off with Image today. And it's a huge week for Image. Not specifically for me. Actually, we can't open that up then. But the one that I'm really talking about right now is Saga. So we got Saga 55 coming back. And for those of you who are reading that one, that's a big book for a lot of readers. A lot of people have been waiting for Saga for an extremely long time. And sadly, I'm not caught up in the series. But, I mean, everybody that's been, even at the shop, they're all so hyped for Saga. So I'm really excited for you guys. Sadly, I didn't read the compendium yet. Other than that, I mean, you got some other big heavy hitters coming out this week.
Image has Stray Dogs coming out, right, this week?
Yeah.
New issue.
So Stray Dogs Dog Days issue number 2. That's the end of the little mini series. And it's really cool because on one of the most recent videos that I did, a lot of people all, they kind of were in agreement that they felt that it was definitely a cash grab. They felt that, everyone was so hyped up still from the first Stray Dogs series that now this was just, I don't know, kind of a letdown. You've got 60 plus covers for 2 issues. There's not really a story. Even the first issue is just kind of more, focused on a little portion of each dog. And there's I don't know, 6-7 dogs. And I think there's only 2 pages worth for each. So it really, I don't know, it wasn't much at all.
Right. So you were a little disappointed in the content. So got Jimmy G, what's going on, buddy? Jimmy G in the house. Roland actually has a question. Thor 20 is selling on eBay for $25. I missed out on the issue, but I don't really want to pay that price. Do you think I should buy?
Here, I'm going to bring it up for you guys. I'm going to start off with absolutely not. So
I'm not sure what you mean. You're being a little vague, Alec. What do you think?
Here we go. No, I was gonna bring it up so we could look at it kind of together. So God of Hammers, this is part 3. There's the covers. This is the 1 in 25. Last time I checked, I was selling for about 80 on eBay. The Chang or Chung headshot sketch was about 15-ish, and same with the Creasley's homage. That was about 15. But the main cover, let me bring that back up for you guys so you can see it better. So that's the main cover A. I don't think you should pay that price, absolutely, at all, because if you've kept up with anything that's Donny Cates related, he kind of, I don't know, I'm not saying he kills a lot of his characters off, but people who spend a lot of money on these characters, in the Venom run, there was, I don't even remember the character's name, but it ended up being the Scorpion after something that happened to him from Absolute Carnage way earlier. So it wasn't even a real first appearance. Then the other big character that he brought up, I think Codex, ended up just being a different dimensional or a different universe version of his son Dylan. So that technically really wasn't a first appearance either. And then for this Thor series, when they brought up the Black Winter in the very beginning, that was only a couple issues, and people spent a ton of money on that one. Nothing came about from that. And now last issue was a little cameo of, I don't even know what they call it, I guess the embodiment of Mjolnir. That was selling for, I think, $15 to $20. Now it's just a small cameo, and now people are spending a lot of money on this one as well. So in my opinion, if you follow the trend of Donny Cates and what he does with, honestly, all of his first appearances and almost all of his characters, I would not be spending a lot of money on this at all, personally.
So we got Sheldon in the house, Jimmy G, Adrian. So Sheldon says it's going to be a second print if you want it. So
I believe that.
So I guess the advice, Roland, is depends on what you're chasing it after. If you are a Thor fan, if you're interested in the content, obviously, Alec is a little bit pessimistic on the turn that it might take with Donny Cates. But if you're looking for content, you're just a big Thor fan, then I would probably wait for the second print and just pick that up.
I would do that.
You know, if you're a collector, it's like anything else, man. I mean, when you speculate, there's always a certain amount of risk that's involved with it. Yeah, take a look at Bitcoin right now. I mean, Bitcoin's taking a bath, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's so there's always kind of a risk factor that's involved. So, you know, it's hard to say. And listen, whatever you hear from me or you hear from Alec, you know, we could be wrong. You know, again, that's why they call it speculation. So, you know, we could be absolutely wrong. You know, we're obviously not privy to the upper offices of what's happening at Marvel or DC or things like that. So, you know, we're guessing just as with everybody else. But obviously, what I think Alex said has merit. You know, you got to be careful because DC and Marvel they see, especially with pushing their their streaming series, pushing movies that are coming out. I think I read there's going to be like 11 superhero movies coming out this year.
I believe it.
So they realize the two things are intertwined, and they're trying to reach a larger market. So sometimes I get the feeling that they're just, you know, punching stuff out in a hopes to create a buzz about an upcoming movie or an upcoming series. And sometimes maybe that month they shouldn't publish that issue for whatever reason, but they need to work with the other heads that are involved, you know, within the business, and you know they got to hit a certain time frame, and sometimes I think that happens. I think JD Barry says that Dog Days does nothing for story progression, pointless in his opinion.
It really is.
That seems like they realized. You know, again, I look at Stray Dogs. I'm thinking, well, why would anybody be into this? And then it took off. You know, I know that you thought it was going to be a good one. So, but you're definitely not in the majority. I really didn't see where this was going to go. So when you look at that, I think that they saw that Stray Dogs was working. It was very popular, probably more popular than they had anticipated. And the old theory hit it while the iron's hot, kind of thing. They're going to punch something else, you know, something else out there to keep the buzz up, because everybody's afraid, you know, by third quarter of the year, what if everybody loses interest in Stray Dogs? You know, is that the right attitude? Maybe not. You know, maybe if you just you continue to provide good story content, then it, you know, takes off on its own. But it's hard to say. You know, I mean,
yeah,
you know, that's a challenge that I guess any business is faced with. So Roland says he's collecting for his 5-year-old grandson.
I was going to bring that up next, especially for that reason. If you're collecting for your 5-year-old grandson, if he plans on reading this, I'm not saying he's not someone that doesn't take care of things, but to give, you know, something potentially worth a lot of money to a 5-year-old, definitely wait for a second print. Try and get a different cover if that's the case. It's, to me, I think a lot of us, we've read a lot of Donny Cates stuff, and maybe I'm a little biased because I'm not a fan of the series right now. I really don't like the Hulk so far. But I mean, if you look at the past, all of the stuff that has exploded that he came out with was just a quick cash grab, because next couple issues, either the character got killed off or you found out that it's actually not a real first appearance. It's just somebody else playing, you know, a different character's name, or you know what I mean? Something along those lines. Like Codex became Dylan. Whatever that one character he made that turned out to be the Scorpion. Same thing with that. Black Winter hasn't been talked about. I guess the other way to think about it is, do you really think that Mjolnir, that's been around for literally forever, is going to, you think they're going to allow Donny Cates to just like kind of kill off Mjolnir, but create it as this, I don't know, an actual character? I don't know. I don't think that's going to stick around forever. If anything, maybe it's going to last till the end of the arc, and then maybe, I don't know. I don't know what he's planning on it, but I can't imagine just Mjolnir's done. I can't imagine they just create a character out of something that's been around forever. So that's my opinion, though.
And MWK Direct is in the house.
Yeah,
what's up,
good,
buddy?
Bro. I hope you're doing well
and
today.
Got Elliot and Muhammad Aziz. Thanks for joining us, guys.
I think this is actually a really good question, too. Would you suggest selling copies and buying the second printings then? So a lot of the publishers, to my knowledge, have actually stopped doing a lot of second printings. I think that was just mainly a massive craze over summer when a couple of people started talking about how they're worth a lot of money and that you should be buying up second and third and fourth prints. And I think people caught on and realized that they're not really worth what they're being told they're worth.
Right.
So,
well, I think here's a real important point is I think everybody's got to remember that first, second, and third prints come out of the book industry, and the express purpose for it is very different than comics, and comics used to be more, I guess, a great deal more similar to the book industry, but has now evolved into something completely different. So there's still much smaller than I don't know this for a fact, but I'm making assumptions. The first edition book collecting industry is much smaller than the comic collecting industry, in my opinion, right? So those that really collected first prints, they were hardcover, and they were first editions, and those are ones of value. Now, when you look at something like classic literature, anything written by Charles Dickens or whatever has been printed, gone back to print hundreds and hundreds of times. And the reason was because it was the content, the story itself that people wanted, and you go to a first printing and the first printing's done, and then you sell out of it, whatever, and then people are still interested in it. So a book publisher is, what are they going to do? Well, people want it. I'm going to go back to the press and print it again. Yeah. But comics are different because it's taken this, you have that combination of the art and the story and so on and so forth. So I think that the publishers realize that going to second printing is killing yourself, because it may crimp up on your first print, or, so on and so forth. And obviously, depending on quantity, and sometimes you have some strange stuff that goes on where a second printing may actually be more valuable or more in demand than a first printing. But usually it's the first print, right? Because you're guessing, you don't know. You don't, yeah, right. Because you don't know. You don't know how many people are going to want it. You don't know how many you're going to sell. Every publisher's ended up in a situation where, they overprint the first print of a particular title because sales were not as great as they had assumed. So, I think you run into that problem. To answer Elliot's question, I think that really what you have to consider is, what is it that you're buying the comic for? And, and I'll get back to Roland's question too. If you're looking for content and you're interested in the story and you're a fan and you're a reader, then what does it matter if you get the first or second print, really? I mean, at the end of the day, the story is the same, the content is the same. The publisher will try to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes you'll have variant covers and things like that. And I think those appeal to a different collector, one like, our buddy Ron, who's always on our shows. He is an appreciator of the art. He doesn't actually read the comics. He doesn't. He just doesn't. That's not his thing. So he collects for an entirely different reason. And he's not driven so much by the story, but by the art itself. And that's perfectly fine too. Not everybody has their own reason. For Roland, if you look into build a collection for your grandson, my suggestion, and disagree with me if you don't agree, Alec, but my suggestion is, if you're looking for something that's going to appreciate, go back to Silver and Golden Age and look for slab copies. Okay. You're not going to pay bottom dollar. You're not going to, find a diamond in the rough. It's going to have value, but more than likely by the time, your grandson's 5, in 11 years, and you look at those solid titles from the Golden and Silver Age that are slabbed with the grade, they go up. They generally steadily go up. When you start to speculate on the modern stuff that's coming out now, it's like, I liken it to blue chip stocks and penny stocks. Okay. A blue chip stock is one, with a certainty that, the trajectory is going to be upwards, that it's a solid stock to buy. It's a good investment vehicle. But then you got day traders who get into penny stocks and stuff, and the fluctuation of that, the difference between even, Bitcoin, Dogecoin is probably not the best example, but, that gives you an idea, where it can fluctuate wildly in the course of a day. Now you're gambling, so I think it's the same thing in modern comics. When you try to speculate, is that it's tough. I did not think Straight Arms was going to take off, and it did. And there was no particular marketing behind it or anything like that. It was interesting enough that it grasped the attention of the comic readers, and that caused people to go back and try to get more copies and so on. And so it was an organic kind of growth. And then, Dog Days, they obviously, went to the well and said, oh, this is hot. Let's get something out there. Who cares what the story says?
That's the big
and
problem to
people
me.
and then people walk away disappointed. And it's nothing against image. I understand the purpose for doing something like that. Okay. It's still a business. You still have, your building, your overhead, your salary, you got people that got to make money. So if you think you have an opportunity to make some money, you're going to try to do that. But I think it's a lesson learned, is that no matter what, the content, the story content still drives the comic and its popularity and its collectability. Okay. And again, I only refer to modern day comics. When you get into gold and silver age, it's something entirely different. Okay. Yeah. It's a different beast altogether, so, but I think all these things are good. These are not a bad thing for the hobby as a whole, because it drives in different kind of collectors, guys like, Ron, who I mentioned before, avid collector, but he doesn't read. He's not as interested in the story content. He loves and appreciates the art, whether it be a statue or a bust or, a Ken Hazer sketch cover, or a signed, Batman or whatever the case may be. He's buying purely from an appreciation of the art, on the cover, in the books themselves, so that's a different kind of collector, but still a comic collector. And that's good. We can use them all, all types of collectors, readers, and even the speculators, believe it or not,
And,
I know.
You can go. Go ahead. Continue. I was going to say, in continuation of all that for Roland, if you're really trying to collect stuff for him, if you want him to read stuff, get omnis, get hardcovers, get trade paperbacks, because that'll be a good way for him to go back and really check out some stuff from the past. Because obviously a lot of that stuff's very expensive. It's expensive to collect stuff weekly as well. But if you're able to get an omnibus of it or a couple hardcovers, they'll be able to sit on that for a long time. And those are, in my opinion, the hardcovers are always going to go up in value because, like you said, books have printings. That's a first print. That's a second print or a reprint as far as omnis go. And if you have the original one, they'll sell for a lot of money. I have Planet Hulk back there. I had no idea that that's selling for so much money. It's not even that big of a hardcover. And I bought it brand new a few years ago. A couple of years later, it went from the $100 price tag to, I think it's on eBay for $150, $175. So some things, they go up a little bit, but I would personally suggest grabbing hardcovers for him.
Well, Roland says he has, I'm assuming he means he has Silver and Golden Age books that are already slabbed. He has some books from the 70s. So that's great. So my suggestion to Roland is, with his 5-year-old grandson, then, obviously you got to be age appropriate. There are certain Dynamite titles I would not suggest for his 5-year-old grandson,
or any Perillo cover.
Perillo cover. Perillo tours. That's why I say Perillo. Remember Perillo tours? They take you all over Italy. I guess my point is that Roland, take him to, and you may have already done this, take them to your local comic book shop. I think what you're talking about is, if you have those Golden Age slab, Silver Age slab books from the 70s, that you intend to bequeath to your grandson at some point, then the magic here is that you can develop this hobby with your grandson. Take him to the LCS, when cons are back up, take him to a con, see what titles he likes. He's going to like certain titles that you may not know yet. And I think the magic there is the special relationship you're going to have with your grandson. It's not necessarily the comics that you're buying today to hope to give to him when he's 16. I think it's going to be all those moments that you spend together at a con, or talking to cosplayers, or creators, or going to your local LCS and hanging out with your grandson. Maybe grabbing some lunch after going to pick up your pull list. I think that really is going to be the magic there. And like anything else, you're going to buy something and like Stray Dogs, and boom, next thing you know, oh, look at this. This is going up in value. This is awesome. And that's just a bonus, and that, something you and your grandson can talk about and spend time doing. So to me, I think that's great that Roland is doing this for his grandson. And I think there's going to be a lot of magic days and some time spent together.
Solid. And then before we get into Boom Studios, it looks like Elliot's got a question. What is your opinion on those buying comics in shops and then selling online? How does a comic shop view it? Is it supply, demand in the industry? But I've heard it rubs people the wrong way. If you mean kind of just going in For example, I don't know, say Thor. Say you go into a shop and they didn't pull any of their books and they've got like three, I don't know, say you grab like 3 to 5 copies of the new Thor series. I'm sure that's probably going to piss some people off. I tend to probably not buy a lot, even if I know it's selling. I might buy one for myself and then one to flip, so it kind of, I don't know, pays for itself. Or I might buy two and I'll sit on one for a long time, keep it, bagged and board, and then the other one I'm going to read. So sometimes I'll do that, but I personally don't really like it when I see someone going in and buying up all of them, like 5, 6 copies, because they know it's selling for $20 to $30 online. But that's my opinion. Some people do that, and that's how they make their living. And I'm never going to hassle or argue with someone with how they make their money and pay their bills. So
yeah, and the retailer can always cap it. Say 2 copies per person.
Yeah, that comes down to the shop too. They can do the exact same thing.
Exactly. I mean, there are people there making their livelihood going to Walmart and buying popular stuff and clearing it off the shelves, and and then turning around selling it online. So it's kind of the evil of the internet, of e-commerce, if you want to call it that. But that's also a free market. If the retailer doesn't care, he's thinking, well, look, it might take me a week to sell through all the copies I ordered, but this dude's going to clean me out in 2 days and I can cash that. I'm not here to tell the retailer, that he's wrong for doing that. I mean, he has his bills to pay. He has his rent, his lights, that type of thing. It's and I do know people that get upset, but I will say this much, Elliot, these days, there's something that always rubs somebody the wrong way about something.
Yeah, that's it.
So hey, it's an open market, and if the retailer doesn't want to cap it, then you just got to kind of get to your store early, or know somebody at the store. Hey, pull 2 or 3 copies and put them underneath the cash register for me, would you? That type of thing. So I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, I it's part and parcel. Is it great? Maybe some kid's getting ready to get his copy and it's sold out and he's disappointed. Is that great? Nah. Do I want to see that? Not really, but it happens.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It happens. It is what it is.
It does. Exactly.
Now that kid learned that not everything's going to go that kid's way growing up.
That's right. Get to the store earlier.
Yeah, get to the store earlier.
Be there. Be the first one in line. Bug your mom and dad to drive you out.
If you showed up 10 minutes before they opened because there's a hot book, and that person showed up an hour after they opened, I mean, who are you going to argue with? The person that showed up later, the person that showed up early?
Right. Exactly.
It is what it is.
But go ahead.
I was going to say, if we're good, move on to Boom Studios, talk about some of those next.
Sure.
So they look like they got roughly 6 coming out this week. This, to me, I think is going to be an unpopular opinion. But so I have been liking House of Slaughter. I realize that it's not Something Is Killing the Children. But I think Boom Studios was riding high off of Something Is Killing the Children for so long that people aren't really realizing that a lot of these new series that they've been coming out with, none of them are really living up to the hype. Like I said, this might be a personal opinion, but they got Dark Blood coming out this week. This is the last issue. I know a couple people who are reading it, but I'm not really hearing too many good things about it. They came out with a new series for Maw, Eat the Rich, a few other ones that were supposed to be a little bit bigger titles, even Berserker, that people aren't really enjoying anymore. And I think they were riding off Something That's Killing These Children for so long that people are kind of looking past that these other series, to be honest, really aren't that good. So I don't know if that's just me. I'm not sure what you guys are thinking in the comments section. But other than that, other than House of Slaughter, I'm not grabbing anything from Boom Studios this week. I even heard the new Power Rangers really hasn't been that good. They did a Mighty Morphin and then just Power Rangers series. Now they have a Power Rangers universe. I think this is only a very limited series, but a lot of people I talked to said that they haven't really been enjoying that either. So we'll see how that goes. But hey, we definitely got to talk about Dynamite too. It looks like you got about 4 coming out this week.
We got 4 coming out this week. So you got Invincible Red Sonja #7, written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. So you got the Amanda Connor cover, Joe Michael Linsner, Frank Cho, McFarlane homage cover by Jamie Biggs. We also have The Army of Darkness, 1979, number 5, written by Rodney Barnes, art by Edu Mena. And let's see, got a cover by Arthur Sudheim, and a TMNT homage cover by, I'm a big fan, Ken Hazer. Vampirella Dracula Unholy number 2, written by Christopher Priest. And you have a Lucio Carrillo cover. That is the A cover. And then Stanley Artgerm Lau has a cover as well, and also a TMNT number 2 homage by Ken Hazer. And then Sheena, Queen of the Jungle number 3, written by Stephen Mooney, and another Lucio Carrillo cover, Joseph Michael Linsner, and another homage cover by Ken Hazer. So,
good, Joffrey.
Hey, Joffrey, what's up, buddy?
What's good?
So not a heavy week for us, but some great art.
You got some good books, though, 100%. I was going to say, if you guys haven't read Army of Darkness, I'm a couple issues behind, but Rodney Barnes, if you've ever grown up watching Evil Dead or read any of the other stuff, he has captured Ash, like, to the T. He's like spot on with that character, like the little bit of seriousness, the comedy, like he really did capture that character. The artwork's very good too. I can't speak on Vampirella Dracula Unholy, but I really want to read it. My shop didn't have issue number 1, and then Sheena, I didn't get an opportunity to read yet, but I've been hearing really good things about that one too.
Whenever you need a copy of something that the LCS maybe ran out of, just you can just email me, right?
I know. I need to take more advantage of emailing you about Dynamite.
I know you're still settling in. I know you're still settling in from the big move. You got a lot of stuff on your plate right now. But by the way, I do want to say this, Alec. I like what you're doing here with the double screen. That's cool.
Yeah, my dumbass didn't realize I could do it. Yeah, I had no idea how to do any of this tech stuff, and then I just sat down and played with it for like an hour one day, and I was like, wow. So that's what that does. And it's like this whole time I could have been doing stuff like this. I had no idea.
That's all right, man. You seriously, I mean, I think about it within the last couple of months, man, you've had a lot of things going on with the move and everything else. And
it's been so much.
It's huge. Yeah, it has been, I'm sure, and then just kind of hitting the ground running with your LCS and stuff and all the stuff you're doing. So
that's been the craziest thing, because I got them set up with the Whatnot account, and they were a little skeptical at first, and you can't really blame them. They never did, online auctions like that other than on YouTube. And I said, I really like it. It's worked well for me, but obviously me being a single person, I don't have a store worth of books. I don't have a warehouse worth of books. So I can't, pick and choose. I have to worry about, prices and what I pay for things. And did like one auction. It went all right. And then the next auction, they said, yeah, grab whatever you think is going to be good. And that second auction did really well. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, it went from 1 auction a week to 3 auctions a week. And all 3 of those auctions on that second week went extremely well. And they were kind of like, hey, do you think you can be full-time and do this like 5 or 6 times a week? And I was like, all right. And like right off the bat, it went from a part-time job to a full-time job doing auctions. Last week I did 6. This week awesome. I'm on 5 so far. But it's just so much fun. Awesome. I have a blast doing it.
I'm glad to hear that.
Busy as hell on the schedule,
but I want to remind everybody, as you're watching the Alex live stream, make sure you hit thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your other comic book buddies. Lots of great content on Alex's show. And Alec will join us tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Every Wednesdays from 6 to 8 on The Experience. And we do a comic collectible show. We'll have CGC graded books, usually 9.6 or 9.8s, signed books by, all kinds of legendary creators. We've had John Romita Sr., signature Frank Miller. Every now and again, Nick will pull out a Stan Lee, but that's kind of few and far between.
But, give him some veggies, he'll do it.
Yeah, right. No protein whatsoever. No. We'll have one of my favorites. We have sketch cover art by Ken Hazer, all one of a kinds. And the guy's just amazing. And the range that he has with different styles of art, very limited version covers from Dynamite, just a bunch of stuff, statues. So if you're a comic book collector, check it out. Mondays Absolutely. And Wednesdays. Tomorrow night we'll be on 6 to 8. AR is always on with us on Wednesday nights. Hang out. It's usually a good time.
And it really is a lot of fun, honestly. Sean says preview of tomorrow's show books. Do you have those?
Yeah,
Is
actually,
that, I was gonna say, is that this week's?
This is releases from Dynamite this week. So for tomorrow's show, I actually didn't put those up. So you're just gonna have to tune in, Sheldon. But I promise you, it'll be some awesome remarks, a great mega mix kit, and then obviously some great slabs and signatures as well.
Solid. The other thing I wanted to quickly bring up, because we are going on 40 minutes. I know, we both got a little bit of things to do. So Thursday is going to be the first live stream I do. And if you follow me on Instagram, we did announce like who it's going to be with. So it's going to be me, Skeff, and One True Nerd King. He's not really too big on YouTube, but he's pretty big on Instagram. He posts a lot of reels. He does a lot of content. Super, super knowledgeable guy. I've done a video with him before on one of the Comic Convos episodes. So he's already been on the channel. I feel like all three of us have really good chemistry with each other, like talking, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll give you a little hint to it. We're going to be talking about like our new comic book day picks, some of the stuff we picked up, and it's going to be a lot of stuff that's just kind of happening in the community. That's going to be a live stream. It's starting this Thursday, this month, or first couple of weeks, whatever. It's going to be on my channel, and it's going to be 10 o'clock EST.
Awesome, dude.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I will definitely tune in. I encourage everybody else to tune in as well. Check it out.
Same with that. Same with the Whatnot. So that account, I'm going to put it up as a banner super quick. Actually, link is not in the bio. But here, I'm just going to put it up so you guys can follow it if you'd like. It is... So it's LV_comics. That is the shop account. That's the one that I pretty much took over and did all the comic book auctions on. We do a ton of incentives, exclusives. We honestly give away a lot of free books. There's giveaways in every auction. The shop has a lot of fun doing it, and I do too. So if you guys are interested, that's what it is on Whatnot. It's just LV_comics. There's other guys at the shop that do Pokemon cards and also Pop Funkos, so it's not just specific to comics. But yeah, we got a few auctions already lined up. We go every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday for comic books. And then MWK Direct says maybe AR can get Dynamite rolling on Whatnot. LOL, just saying. Yeah, you guys should hop on there too. It's been a lot of fun. So that might be something you guys
sounds like
it,
man.
About.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk. But as always, man, it's always fun to chat, and we'll be here again tomorrow night. And that's 2 hours. I think John is back. He was back Monday. So
it was last week too.
Yes, I'm expecting him back on Wednesday. But when you're retired and can do whatever you want, it's pretty sketchy with him.
Yeah,
but I think he was jonesing on some free comics, so he needs to get his
comics and statues.
Comics and statues. You got it, brother.
All right. And on that note, we are coming up on the 45-minute mark. So we're going to be ending the stream very shortly. I just want to say thank you, everybody in the chat that was hanging out with us today. It means a lot. It's literally smack dab in the middle of the day. So that's awesome. You guys were able to check it out. And as always, thank you, Rex, for hanging out with us today.
It's always a pleasure, brother.
Couldn't do it without you. So thank you.
Listen, we got to get that brewery remote going.
Oh, my God.
I've been talking to John.
With this schedule, we'll have to.
You gotta make time, my friend. Gotta make time. We'll talk about it more tomorrow night.
We will. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you again, Rex. Have a good, safe night and enjoy New Comic Book Day tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.